Wow, what a day, what a weekend. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the University of Massachusetts basketball statue unveiling ceremony. My name's Mike Corey, sportscaster for ESPN and NBC, a graduate of the UMass Communications Program and class of 1999. I'm thrilled and honored to be up here today to help unveil these statues and celebrate UMass's all-time greats. These four honorees, through their dedication, passion, and unique talents, changed the culture of not only UMass basketball, but this university, the community, and the lives of so many. They left all of us with countless memories, experiences, and legendary stories that will be remembered for generations to come. I came to UMass because I wanted to be a sportscaster, and I had the pleasure of getting advice from Coach Jack Lehman, who was the analyst on the UMass radio network at the time. And Jack would always come talk to me. He'd give me tips about being on the air. He taught me to be positive when talking about the team and to always treat everyone with respect. And he often talked about on how proud he was to be part of the UMass family and what a tremendous impact it had on his life. In March of 1996, I remember driving down to Philadelphia as a freshman with four seniors on the student radio station and newspaper as we were set to cover UMass's unprecedented run for their fifth consecutive Atlantic 10 title. And as we got to the Civic Arena in Philadelphia for those games, I'll never forget walking inside and seeing the legendary Julius Erving just a few feet away. And I approached him somewhat nervously and introduced myself, and I was quickly at ease, though, by how gracious and welcoming he was to speak to me. And I just kind of listened in awe as he had told me about his time at UMass and how excited he was for the historic run that his alma mater was on. And then I'll never forget that September day in 1995. I'm a freshman walking out of the UMass Campus Center, and Marcus Camby is walking right towards me. And I said, "Hey, Marcus, how you doing?" And he stopped to talk to me. And I reached out my hand and said, my name's Mike. And he says, "Nice to meet you." I said, "Yeah, how you guys doing? You getting ready for the season? Everything going well?" He's like, "Yeah, man, it's going great." He's like, "In fact, we're playing a pickup game tonight down the courts outside of Southwest. You should come play." I said, "Okay." So I ran back to my dorm. We're on the other end of campus. I told all my friends, I said, "I met Marcus Camby. He's awesome. And he told me we're going to play a pickup game. We got to go play with him tonight." They're like, "Okay." So we got our shirts and shorts on. We got all the way down there. There's hundreds of people lining the court right in between the towers. I'm like, make my way up to the front, see what's going on. And there he is, along with members of the team, playing a game. First thing I see is they throw the ball to Marcus. He takes two dribbles. He jumps from the foul line, and he dunks it home. And everybody is going berserk. And my jaw is dropped as I turned to this random stranger to my right and said, "Yeah, how do you get involved in a game like this?" And he's like, "Yeah, you got to know somebody." So I quickly realized that I was here to help cover the amazing run for that team, and it all worked out well in the end. But I like to tell that story because that was Marcus. He was kind, he was approachable, he was thankful, and he affected people both on and off the court, and he always looked for ways to give back and help wherever he could. And while John Calipari is most known for his epic wins, recruiting the best players, and developing character, I'll always remember how welcoming he was to myself and the entire student media. We participated in this and had the same access that all the major outlets did. Press conferences, interviews, we'd go into his office to talk to him, you name it. He made us feel special, and overall, he always understood the role that everyone had in growing his program. Before we unveil the statues, I'd like to welcome up here UMass Athletics Director Ryan Bamford. As UMass teams have won more conference regular season and tournament sports championships than any Atlantic 10 Conference member since his arrival. UMass hockey, of course, won the national championship last year. And UMass had their highest single-year academic progress rate under his leadership as well. Please welcome UMass Athletics Director Ryan Bamford.
Good afternoon. Sorry for the wind. Thank goodness it's not rain. Welcome, and for those that haven't been back to campus in some time, welcome back to campus and to your home. For those that are alums, it is a special day for our department, for this university, and certainly for our basketball program, as we have four pillars of UMass men's basketball here to celebrate in perpetuity with statues. It doesn't get much better than this, and a remarkable day in our history, no doubt. It's the start of a wonderful weekend for us here at UMass. This was a great kickoff event. We felt we are honoring the four individual Hall of Fame members this evening in a ceremony, and our second team will go into the Hall of Fame, the 1995-96 Final Four Minutemen team that captured the hearts and minds of this community and the Commonwealth throughout. Tomorrow we have an alumni men's soccer game, a varsity contest against Vermont at 1 o'clock, and then a kickoff in football against Boston College at 3:30. So I hope you all will join us for these events as we unfold this great weekend. Unfortunately, today falls on a Hindu holiday, and so our Chancellor, Subaswamy, is not able to be with us today, but he did want me to send his regrets and his very best wishes to you and extend our thanks for the leadership and all of the contributions that you've made to this university. I wanted to just take a moment to share with you the genesis of today and where we started, and how impactful we thought this moment would be for this university and our basketball program especially. I came in 2015, and back in 2017, I had the occasion to bring back Coach Calipari. We honored Coach with a banner-raising ceremony in the Mullen Center, and at the time, talked with our Chancellor and other campus leaders about ways that we could continue to celebrate our great history, not only in basketball, but throughout our athletic department. And I want this to be the beginning of us celebrating that rich history, because I think it's important to know where you've come from so you can continue to get to great places. And so this, for us, is extremely special in that way. In 2018, we landed our first gift towards this project. When we talked with people that were close to our basketball program, they jumped at the opportunity to help us fund this project. And I am happy to say that here we sit as we unveil these statues, and this project is fully funded through philanthropy. And the power of philanthropy, it's not just the power of philanthropy, but the feelings that people have about these gentlemen and what they did for this great university. I want to single out two people in particular that were great benefactors and leaders. Both are here with us today. One flew in today, and that's Martin Jacobson, class of 68. Marty, thank you for your continued leadership and your belief in not only our program, but this great university and our department. And then I want to single out Ed and Anne-Marie Rubin. And most of you don't know Ed as Ed Rubin. You know him as Sign Man. And Sign Man, if you've ever been to a men's basketball game, walks around the court with his various signs depending on the opponent. And Ed and Anne-Marie, Ed was a manager on Jack Lehman's teams. And when we brought this to Ed, they both, Ed and Anne-Marie, jumped at the opportunity to support this effort. And so I want to thank Ed and Anne-Marie for really being a big part of getting this off the ground. And I realize I'm the only thing standing in the way of you seeing these beautiful statues. I do want to thank a few other people, and I'll be brief, but it's important for me to single out a couple of our staff members, particularly our external operations staff. Dave Biancamano, who oversees our external operations and our development and advancement group. And Dave's worked extremely hard, but I think the person who this has been a love affair for because of his rich and his deep history with this institution and our program is Jason Germain. And I want to thank Jason deeply for his great work to get to this day. I also want to thank our Assistant AD for Facilities and Operations, Anthony Rosati. Anthony's worked extremely hard to build out this event. And he's also been our liaison with our sculptor, Jeff Bucaccio, who's here somewhere. Jeff, raise your hand. Jeff is in the audience. And if you get a chance, when you see these beautiful statues, Jeff is going to be here after the event. Please, it's been, I think, a real labor of love for Jeff as well. He is housed and lives in Canton, Massachusetts. That's where his operation is. So this is a Commonwealth company for us that we asked to do this work, and I think the results will speak for themselves. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you at our events throughout this weekend. Go UMass.
First, it's my pleasure to introduce Coach Lehman's wife and daughter to share their personal remarks. Please welcome Rita and Lori Lehman.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, everyone. Well, today is a very special day for Lori and I. There's no doubt about that, and we're very honored to be here representing Jack Lehman. I believe that most of you have already heard about the accomplishments of all these, and I know you know Jack's basketball accomplishments, so I thought that today I would speak just a little bit about Jack Lehman, the person. Jack was one of those special people who was always there for anyone who needed his help or his advice. He was a talented college basketball player himself, and he was extremely competitive. It didn't matter whether he was coaching a game or whether he was just playing a simple card game at home with his daughter. His goal was always winning. He loved people, and people loved him. To this day, 17 days after his passing, people still stop me to share a story about Jack. It seems like everybody had a story about Jack, and everybody who knew him felt a very personal connection to him. But most of all, Jack loved UMass. He supported all the UMass sports, and he supported all their coaches. When a team was leaving for a trip, he would sometimes leave the house, even 5 o'clock in the morning if necessary, to make sure that he got up here to see the team and the coach before they left. After a snowstorm, he would come up here and brush the snow off the players' cars, because he knew when they got back from a trip, they would be very tired and so pleased to see that they didn't have to take the time to brush the snow off their cars. But that might sound crazy, but it's even crazier that I was at home brushing the snow off his car so he could come up here to brush the snow off the players' cars. And that's a true story. But I'm very, very grateful today to Ryan Bamford, to the athletic department and the entire university, and all the other people who have made this possible today. This is a great honor that is being bestowed upon a wonderful man and a man that I loved. So I thank you very much for all being here to share this moment with Laurie and I. Thank you.
Rita, Lori, thank you so much. And now, please welcome Julius Erving.
Well, the words that you just heard about Jack Lehman rang so true, as does the statement, behind every great man there's a great woman. And that's a great woman right there. Other than flying in from Atlanta today to be back on the campus of UMass, there are a few other things that happened. And one of the things that happened was, I looked in my portable office that I carry just about everywhere with me, and my autobiography was in there. It's just called Dr. J, the Autobiography. So I said, there's a reason for this being here. And, since I came to UMass more than 50 years ago, I don't trust my memory. So I said, I started thumbing through the autobiography, and I got to the section when I was 18 years old, because it's done in decades. It's like 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21, 30, so on and so forth, all the way to, I guess I was 63 when I wrote it. So we got parts of 7 decades in there. So, I'm thumbing, and I'm thinking, with the audience today, there's going to be a lot of people who don't know anything about me, who've never had a personal experience with me. They don't really know what makes me tick, what made me tick, what made me make the decisions that I made when I was their age, mainly talking about this group over here and this group over here of UMass athletes. So maybe I could fill in some of the blanks, and maybe I could say something, that might help them with their development during this transitory time. And I found a few things. In 1968, that was the year when Martin Luther King was assassinated. And that particular day, I went to a high school in Roosevelt, Long Island, that was probably 50% black, 50% white. And our valedictorian was a girl named Stephanie Cardone. And I probably was the most popular athlete on campus. And her cousin was one of my best friends, John Cardone. And there was a group of middle schoolers who had her surrounded when I left school, and it was probably 6 or 7 of them, and they had, this thug mentality, like, we're gonna beat up a white kid. And this was our class valedictorian. So I stepped in and I intervened, and I said, well, you're not gonna beat this girl up today, not her. And they decided to go try and find somebody else to beat up. And she and I walked home that day, and she was very thankful, and she was going to go to school, to college. She said, I didn't really want to get beaten up today. Who does, right? So we had a great chat then that has survived all these years, because every time I talk to her cousin and I ask about her, she's asking about me or reading something about me. And that day was just a monumental day for 2 people. 2 people who were very different from one another, because I wasn't anywhere near close to being the valedictorian. But my grades were good enough to get into UMass anyway, as an out-of-stater. So anyway, that's the spring of 1968. And I made a decision to come to UMass. It was 100% relationship driven. Not because they had the greatest basketball program in the world, but they were a major university academically. They were only 2.5 hours away from my driveway in Long Island. And their coach, Jack Lehman, and my coach in high school, Ray Wilson, played together at Boston University. So there was a relationship there. And I visited maybe 8 or 10 other schools during that time, and it kind of came down to UMass or St. John's. St. John's would stay home and live in the athletic dorm, which was not a very nice-looking apartment in Queens. You know, come to UMass and experience the campus, the hills, the mountains, the fresh air, you know, the lifestyle of really being in true suburb, and experience this school. One issue, which goes back to my situation with Stephanie, was there's 25,000 students here, and there was 125 black students here. And that did not count the few athletes that were on campus. So the school has come a long, 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 long way, just in terms of inclusion, just in terms of socially becoming a more acceptable place for a person to come and receive a diverse type of education and a diverse social experience. And so I'm proud of the school because I've tried to follow as much as I could over the years and see how this transition, you know, has occurred and the results of it. You know, I left school after my junior year, and I've apologized enough times for that. You know, I have some of my teammates who are here, and the guys who I recruited, Rick Pitino and Al Skinner from Long Island, you know, who were freshmen when I was a junior, and then suddenly I'm gone and I don't have a senior year here. So, as I said, you know, I've apologized enough for that because I think in life, you know, when you get to be a certain age, you have to make decisions that are best for you and your family. And that's clearly what, you know, that decision was all about. Even though if I had to do it again, and I don't know if Marcus feels the same way, I would have stayed in school another year. I'd have stayed here and we might have gotten all the marbles. And those guys, I mean, you know, their lives were changed, my life was changed. And the ones that I've had interaction with over the years, you know, we've worked it out. So let me just get back to the book for a second. I came here and I was crying today when I started reading this book. It's kind of like the film documentary that was done on my life. It's like a tearjerker. This book is a tearjerker too, and I'm gonna give it to somebody before I leave here. Anybody interested in getting the book? Oh, wake up, wake up, wake up, everybody. How about in the middle? Anybody interested in getting the book? Okay, all right. Show and tell. So anyway, I go in the book, and I'm not gonna take all the time, fellas. Okay, we good? We good? As long as they say I'm good, right? I go in the book, and I go to the chapter ending my high school career and starting my college career. And that year, as my teammates remember, and Rita and Laura remember, my younger brother had lupus. He was diagnosed with lupus, but they didn't know he had lupus till after he passed, and they did an autopsy on him. And he was 16 years old. So I was at UMass when I got the call that I needed to come home. And it was right after returning from home after spring break. So I got home, and we had finished our freshman basketball season. We were 17-0, thanks to Coach Broker, you know, with his kinder, gentler approach to coaching people. Not. But he got W's. He managed to get W's for us. And now, you know, my younger brother passes. I mean, I'm his role model. He's my best friend. I'm representing the family. He's the next one coming up. So many things that this book reminded me of, and it made me surmise that probably at that point I experienced the saddest day in my life while I was a student here at UMass. and I probably had options at that time: pack it in or accelerate and rise. And the God's honest truth, every basketball game I played, every basketball practice I played, my brother's spirit was with me. It was with me 100%. And I dared anyone to stop me. So fortunately, I grew 3 inches while in college. Came in at 6'3", left at 6'6". Came in at 185, left at 205. So there was physical development as much as mental development, emotional development during that time. And something else that my autobiography gave me that I don't think about a whole lot. You know, I met the love of my life here on campus. And that was a very settling situation. Of course, you remember Carol. Yeah. Her dad was the head of the geology department. I never took geology, so I didn't have to beg for a grade. But we were real cool the rest of my time here at UMass. And so I experienced the sadness at that time in my life, but then at that time in my life, I was as happy as a lark. I was as happy as I could be. And I don't say that the best day of my life and the best days of my life were when I was in college, because at 71 years of age right now, I want the best day of my life to be tomorrow. And I try to keep it out in front of me and not settle for it having happened already. But I've had some great, great days, and some great memories have been created. And, you know, I think that this was a catapult. You know, here was a catapult for that, to make me think a little differently than I thought before, feel a lot differently than I felt before, and do a lot differently than I had done before. Thank you for the honor. Hopefully this statue will be enjoyed by many, many people over the years. I also want to come back, check it out, make sure it's still here. And for you guys and your support, thank you for supporting UMass. God bless.
Thank you so much, Julius. Now let's welcome Marcus Camby.
I'm not going to even try to top that, Doc. Just when I thought I couldn't get any better for myself, you know, I thought being inducted into the UMass Hall of Fame was a big accomplishment. I thought getting my jersey retired here at UMass was a great accomplishment. I thought tonight being inducted into the UMass Hall of Fame with my brothers, the 95-96 Final Four team, is a big accomplishment, which it is. But today with the statues, it's like a totality of everything in my career. There's so many people I want to thank along the way. I want to thank BAM, UMass Athletics, for all your support. Jason, Jermaine, all the stuff you do for the team, especially the guys that came in during our era. It goes unseen. Got to give a lot of respect to you. I want to thank the Lehmans. Jack, I missed him dearly. He was always good to be around. To my high school and college hero, who I looked up to, Dr. J, you know how much you mean to me. I tell you that every time I get to see you. And to my forever coach, John Calipari, you know how much you mean to me and my family, so thank you. I also would like to thank my mom, my sisters, and everybody from Hartford who drove up here today. I love y'all all dearly. I've seen a couple high school teammates of mine, Tyrone and Steve White, my brothers who I grew up with in the Pee Wees. I love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this. And man, thank you. Thank you for all your supporters who supported UMass Athletics then, who continue to support UMass Athletics now. The future is bright. Coach McCall, thank you. It was good knowing you for the last couple of years. I know the program is in the right place. I know these guys are going to do a lot of great things this year for the program, as well as the women's program here. You guys are up and coming. I respect you. I expect a lot of great things for you guys as well. But I also want to give a special shout out to all my teammates who I played with who are here today. It really means a lot to me. You know, I know a lot of credit gets bestowed upon me, and you know me, I like to play the back row. I don't really like to be in the front light, but without you guys, everything that's happened to me in my life, playing college basketball player of the year, NBA defensive player of the year, none of that is happening without the help and support of you guys, and I just want to thank you guys for being that, because we are more than a team. We're more than just myself. Man, I remember games where it was Dante and Dana leading us. We had the best backcourt in the nation, with Travieso and Padilla. We had a real good team, and it wasn't just myself. So I'm glad you guys are getting the honor that you deserve tonight, going into the UMass Hall of Fame with myself, and I'm looking forward to that. So everyone who was a part of this, I thank you. I really appreciate it, and I love you all, and go UMass.
Great stuff. Thank you, Marcus. And now, ladies and gentlemen, John Calipari.
All right, all the guys on the 96 team, can you believe he did that right there? I'm like, unbelievable. Ryan, thanks. Jason, thanks. I got staff here. You guys know what I think of you. The players that are from the 96 and all the other guys. When a coach gets an award, you know that becomes a team award. At the dinner tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit more about all the team, because when we were here, it wasn't one person. It was this whole campus. Started from the chancellor right down, and everybody was in line, and it was amazing. To be here with, when they talk to me, they're going to do this, with Dr. J, like what? The best of all time. And then when they talked about Marcus Camby, you have to understand, I've done this a long time. One of the most impactful players I've ever coached. What I mean by that, not only how did he impact this program, this athletic department? How about his impact on his teammates? They know he was a great teammate, always wanted to be in the back. The impact he had on our staff and our families, not only the impact of the game, to be here with him, and then my good friend and mentor, Coach Jack Lehman. I was going to tell the story. It was the women's team. They came back late. I'm in my office, and I look out, and he's literally taking the snow off the cars. One of the kindest, was a great coach and a great mentor to me, but the kindest people you'd ever met. To be able to be here with him, it's big. I would just say to the teams, I see both teams here, what you have together is going to be a lifetime if you make it that way. The relationships you will have here, you'll have them the rest of your life. Don't be afraid to stay in touch. Our guys, and again, Jason and some of the guys have helped that along, but you're at a special time to be on this campus, on that team, in this league, doing what you're doing. I wish you well. Matt, you guys, wish you well, Coach. I do. And thank you again, and I appreciate this, being up here with you guys. Thank you.